We stand at the intersection of racial justice and educational equity. Those two things are inherently braided together, that you can't separate them.
If you are invested in racial justice, then you have to be invested in education justice, because young people are learning their place and their role in society and schools.
We visit these different schools and hearing these people's stories and telling them there is hope. And the way to get that hope is to fight.
Welcome to this bonus episode of Momentum, a Race Forward podcast. I'm Anastasia Ordoñez, H.E.A.L Director of Strategic Communications at Race Forward. Today's episode begins with breaking news. On Thursday, March 20th, President Trump signed an executive order to begin the process of shutting down the U.S. Department of Education. The move follows the recent firing of nearly half the department's employees, fueling a major outcry from educators across the country. These moves threaten far more than the bureaucratic structure of a federal agency. They put at risk critical funding, civil rights protections, and the educational support that millions of students depend on every day. But why does this matter? Because the Department of Education plays a vital role in ensuring equity and access in our schools. Its closure will hit hardest for low-income students, students of color, LGBTQ+ youth, and students with disabilities, the very students our education system should be protecting the most. Let's be clear though, public education is the cornerstone of our democracy. And while not perfect and too often underfunded, public education still holds the promise for every child that regardless of race, background, ability, or identity, they can have an opportunity to learn and thrive. Private schools don't offer this guarantee, and neither do many charter schools that have emerged in recent decades. But even though the majority of Americans stand behind public schools, schools that serve over 80% of all U.S. children and 95% of children with disabilities, we're facing a growing wave of attacks, from funding cuts and classroom censorship to now the dismantling of federal protections. These threats are real and they're urgent. Let's get into it. Let me read part of the statement that can be found on our website at raceforward.org. Race Forward denounces Trump administration's firing of Department of Education staff and irresponsible plan to dismantle the Department of Education. Race Forward, a national organization dedicated to advancing racial equity and justice, condemns the Trump administration's firing of approximately half of the Department of Education's employees. This reckless action to dismantle public education threatens the future of millions of public school students, undermining educational equity and endangering critical protections for historically underserved communities. Quote, "For decades, the Department of Education has played a crucial role in advancing educational opportunities for all children, including Black, Latino, Indigenous, Asian, immigrant, LGBTQ+, and students with disabilities," said Glenn Harris, president of Race Forward. Quote, "Forcing massive layoffs to essentially shut down the department would reverse many years of progress toward ensuring access to quality education, civil rights protections, and critical federal funding for schools that serve students in low-income communities," end quote. This attack on public education deeply harms the communities our H.E.A.L Together program is dedicated to supporting, and weakens our entire country by disrupting essential programs like Title I, special education funding, and protections under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, that benefits millions of students. Moreover, it threatens our nation's ability to cultivate an educated population capable of competing globally in science, technology, and other fields. This attack also undermines the core values of democracy, equity, and opportunity that public schools are meant to uphold. But we're not just releasing statements. We're helping to equip people to protect their public schools and fight back. In 2022, Race Forward joined the Schott Foundation for Public Education and the NYU Metro Center to start the H.E.A.L Together initiative, a national movement of students, parents, educators, and school board members committed to protecting public education. H.E.A.L Together was started as a response to to the increasing attacks on public schools focused on critical race theory, censorship of educators, and book bans. Today, the initiative provides tools and trainings for communities in dozens of states so that folks can be prepared to advocate for strong public schools. And we're fighting back against privatization efforts like the push for vouchers, which are defunding our public schools and dismantling the services states provide students, like special education. In early 2024, we even launched a national organizing campaign called Public School Strong, modeled on a statewide campaign that our partners in North Carolina started with the same name. You may have even seen pictures and videos of our Public School Strong members wearing their blue shirts and red hearts. Public School Strong empowers everyday people with tools for media, organizing, and local action so they can show up prepared at school board meetings and in communities. Our strength is our partnerships with parents, educators, students, organizers, and unions working together across cities, suburbs, and rural towns. Where others are dividing communities, we're uniting them to make sure we don't lose the public schools that provide so many important resources for students across the country. One final thought: public education is the foundation of our democracy. Think about what that means. Our public schools are the places where students work alongside one another, learn how to ask questions together, accept each other's differences, and grow together. There are very few other places where that happens in our society. If public education goes away, what's left? And more importantly, if we are successful in defending public education, what do we gain? Together, we can fight back and strengthen our public schools.
There is no racial justice without a functioning democracy, and there is no such thing as a functioning democracy without racial justice. The public schools were actually built out of this idea that it is in our public schools where we get to learn and practice democracy.